everybody. I have had the privilege of coming here before you for the past, I want to say, almost 20 years. First as a representative to Councilmember Hibbert Miller, and then most recently as Chief of Staff to Councilmember Jessica Lappin. And tonight I have the privilege of appearing before you now as Assistant Director for Government and Community Relations for Cornell Tech. And we are so thrilled to be here on Roosevelt Island and beginning this project. Nick wisely suggested that since this meeting is on Roosevelt Island, that we would come and give an update on the project. And in fact, a number of people, including Nick, have mentioned that while we have been to Community Board 8 and made presentations, each of the buildings, that's been somewhat piecemeal. And it might be nice to have an entire presentation so that you can get the full flavor of the campus and see it in its totality. So we will start this evening to do that with a very short video that does portray the campus as in its entirety. And you'll see it was done in December of 2013, so some of the players, including the mayor, have changed since then. Then after we're finished with the video, standing to my right is Andrew Wichers, who is Cornell Tech's Director of Capital Projects, and he will give a short update on the project, including demolition and abatement. We know that you're pressed for time, so we are going to be brief on all of this so we can get on with what I know is a very long agenda. Okay. Oh, and we will be assisted with the lights by our Roosevelt Island's very own Judy Birdie.
Roosevelt Island's a really unique place. It's located right in the middle of the East River.
This is long, slender body of the city floating in the middle of water.
With Queens on one side, Manhattan on the other.
When you're here looking at the city, it's just an amazing kind of experience.
And to be able to imagine a new campus identity with a landscape that's open to all is an opportunity unlike any other we can think of.
To get an organization like Cornell to build a graduate engineering campus there is one of the most impactful things that we have done.
We're looking at building up a structure where academic excellence and leadership is represented by the faculty, the next generation is represented by the students, the company viewpoints is represented by the companies that are on campus. Given the importance of information industries here in New York City, a focus on these digital disciplines and information disciplines would be the most relevant to tying to the business community in New York, to the potential economic development here in the city.
Part of Cornell's DNA is really community engagement. We're certainly thinking about that on Roosevelt Island. We have 2.5 acres of open space that will certainly be open to the community to use.
The goal of the master plan was to create a campus that is a pedestrian-oriented campus. We want to link our public spaces to the public spaces of the island. We want people to feel like they're invited.
And the solution for the master plan was the idea of the tech walk, and that spine of circulation throughout the campus would be naturally elevated by the topography, and that comes right up to the front door and into the buildings.
The landscape or the open space ground plane, we call it the tissue that's going to hold it all together, so that it's not just an ensemble of really great buildings, but it's something that is held by the matrix.
The desire to produce a state-of-the-art building having to do with its use of resources is completely parallel to the ambition of the research mission of the campus.
During the course of a year, we would generate enough energy on campus to run the academic building.
It's literally a lily pad, and the building is under this thing. And when you get into the there's going to be an entry space, and it's in line with 57th Street. Very literally, you're part of Manhattan. And then from that point, all of the spaces facing west are open labs. There's a commitment to that collective endeavor of research. And that the dialogue will be evident by the nature of the spaces and the lack of privacy or a kind of a radical promotion of transparency. It'll be clear to somebody visiting this is not a typical academic setting.
The residential building is a really critical part of the campus. It makes it a community and a neighborhood.
We're brought into a kind of condensed relationship, a kind of supercharged lifestyle, I think, an academic and research lifestyle.
We think sustainability should be part of every design challenge or problem, but for an applied sciences campus, it's fundamental. So we're looking at ways to radically increase the energy efficiency of this building and also make the residents active participants in their own sustainability.
Placemaking is one of Forest City's core competencies, and so this notion that Cornell was investing heavily in Roosevelt Island and creating something that doesn't exist today, that was provocative, innovative, and badly needed in the city was very attractive to us.
This campus here is an invention already, and this particular building, a co-location building, is even more of an invention. Here's a case where there's a completely catalytic concentration of both academia, industry, and innovation in one place.
So how can this building help foster those relationships? How can we think of creating kind of an architectural, in a way, hothouse that can make different kinds of people come together?
If we actually carve the building in two, and from that center, an ability to spill down and up through the building, so the disconnection that one could experience in a core building is now transformed to a catalytic connection between the landscape, between the floors, and between the tenants, both academic and entrepreneurial.
I think at the larger city scale, what we hope is that this becomes an intellectual center.
That this campus will be seen as a place where people interested in using tech to make a difference in the world will find this to be a place that's a magnet for them.
If there ever was an organization that knew how to deal with a complex, multifaceted, very diverse city like ours, it is Cornell.
Can people see the slides? Great, so it's a little bit hard to follow that with slides, but let me talk through a bit of what's going on right now, and then to recap some of the key elements. So next slide, do we have it?
Jane, do you have it?
So right now we're working on the interior, on the abatement and demolition of Goldwater Hospital. Our current work includes interior demolition of 2 of the buildings, including one of the old ward buildings. It includes interior abatement, which is the removal of hazardous materials under containment from several of the buildings. And we haven't yet started structural demolition yet. Can everybody hear me? As we've talked about frequently in this forum and others, we are removing all the debris from the hospital by barge. We committed to a community air monitoring program, which we began about a month ago, about 6 weeks ago, to create a baseline to understand what the air impacts would be. As we said we would do, we have posted the results of the baseline online on our construction site, which is listed at the bottom, and we will continue to provide updates on that every week or every 2 weeks as we update the website. We're also working on the removal of the WPA murals. People may know there are 3 WPA era abstract murals in the hospital. As part of Cornell's agreement with the city, we committed to protect, preserve, remove, and restore those murals. And as I always want to remind people, we have a construction website that's very active. We post updates every 2 weeks. We post air monitoring information. We post photographs. It's interactive. People can ask questions and we'll respond to them. So please check out the website and look around, and please ask us questions and give us feedback if you have it. Let me just show a couple of pictures. This is some of the photos taken maybe last week of the interior demolition. I think in previous meetings of our construction group and of the community town hall out here on Roosevelt Island, you were able to meet the contractors. We think they're a terrific group, and you can see the kind of clean construction site that they are working with right here. These are 2 of the wards that have been cleared out. You see the interior demolition has been completed in these wards. Next photo. This is a photo of a barging operation. As I think we've described it before, the barge only comes when there's enough debris to make it worthwhile for the barge to come. You can see here the crane loading a series of full containers onto the barge. These are open containers, which means that they contain the interior demolition debris. You may also see it sometimes closed containers that are sealed on top. Those contain the asbestos and other hazardous material debris. All of it is put in separate containers on these barges and removed from the island. It's not trucked down Main Street. So that's where we are with the abatement. We have one more photo that shows you the operation of removing the WPA murals. This is the Bolotowski mural. It's completed in 1941, painted over and then restored about 10 years ago. It was a mural done on canvas. So you can see that they're removing the mural by rolling the canvas on a sonotube. And once they make a few feet of progress a day. Once they finish, they'll take it off the island. They'll be working at a studio in Manhattan to restore the mural. It'll then go into storage and then it'll be reinstalled in the first academic building. In terms of the campus development, again, as Jane said, we were asked to talk about it all together. So trying to list some of the basic elements of the project. Sightline landscaping utilities, so phase 1 is opening in the summer of 2017, which is just a little over 3 years from now. And there are 5 elements to it. So the first element is the site-wide landscape and utilities, which includes the widened roadway, new utilities, and the entire campus landscape. The status currently is that we're working on finishing up the construction documents, and we expect to be complete with those in the summer of 2014. And as I'll show later in the schedule, we actually expect to start some of the early infrastructure work this coming summer. The first academic building, classrooms, faculty, staff workspace, public cafe, and an auditorium. Currently, that is in the completion also of construction documents. We expect that to be complete next month, and at that point, we'll bid the project out. For the co-location building that you heard about, our development partner is Forest City Radnor. It's a loft-like office space that's meant to house tech firms that are related to the academic research that's going on the campus. And currently, that's in design development. I believe that building was brought to the community board prior to going to the Public Design Commission several months ago. Next, residential. We have a development partner there, Hudson Related, who you know well on the island. We're building a building of approximately 350 apartments. Important to say, this campus is a graduate-only campus. It's not an undergraduate dorm. This is for graduate and faculty and staff housing as well. Currently, we're in concept design. As you heard on the video, we're interested in pursuing a pretty innovative model of energy savings. So it's taking us a little bit of time to work that out and make sure that we can achieve it. But as soon as we are further into that process, we'll be coming to this community board to talk about the design as part of our process of going to the Public Design Commission for their review. And finally, the Executive Education Center. We do not yet have a development partner for it. The goal is to create a conference center and hotel that's associated with the academic program on the campus. Over the current summer, we'll be working to identify a development partner to work with us over the next several years to deliver this building. In terms of the campus plan, this was shown in the video. I think people have generally seen this, the 4 buildings of the first phase of the campus, all sitting on the landscape, completely rebuilt roads and utilities that sit under the roads around the campus, as well as the interim landscape on the right, which you see on the left-hand side of this image, which is meant to be for public use until the point where various different buildings will be built as part of a phase 2 or potentially a phase 3 of the project. And these are images that are on our website. You can certainly go see them. Aerial view toward Manhattan that shows how the phase 1 project is really grouped together at the northern end of the site. We want to make sure that this campus in every phase feels like a complete site. We don't want to be living in a construction site, and we don't want to be providing that face to the community either. So grouping all the buildings together, having them be of a consistent set of materials. Next slide, please. You get a sense here of the kind of materials we're talking about. It's metal, it's glass, it's light colored. We have a lot of challenges about reducing the amount of windows because we want to reduce the amount of heat gain. We want to reduce the amount of energy usage, and so working with the architects, we're trying to create a series of diverse buildings, but buildings that all work together. What I had said in the video, which is critical, I think, to the success of this campus, is making sure that the public spaces on the campus are, first of all, designed in a way that they feel accessible and open to the community, and that they're situated within the campus in a way that really feels as though they're more like public spaces rather than private campus spaces. And this is the main public open space on the campus. I think we've showed this image before. The side, you can see the sidewalk on the left-hand side of the image. That's a public sidewalk. That's the street that anybody would walk down. There's no gates, no fences, no barriers, no separation between that sidewalk and the campus as a lawn on campus, and anyone can come in and use that lawn. And that's really fundamental to the way we're thinking about the way the landscape pulls this whole campus together. So project milestones, we've already started demolition in January of 2014. This coming summer, as I mentioned a little earlier, we do expect to start some of the early utility work, which is really about replacing all of the utilities that sit in the roadway around the campus. In the winter of 2015, probably around January, we expect to start the first academic building. Several months later, we would start the co-location building and the residential building. And those are probably about 24-month projects. And then by the summer of 17, we're looking at the campus opening. I think that's the recap, so we're happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Any questions? Yes, Lorraine.
What is the role when you come on campus? How does it get around?
Well, it's a pedestrian-oriented campus, and the studies that we've done show that there are very, very few cars that will be attracted to the campus. Part of the reason for having a residential tower on campus is so that a large percentage of people who are on campus can live on campus. There will be a limited amount of parking within the co-location building, but in general, the studies we've done and the work we've done reaching out to the prospective tenants, as well as working within the Cornell community, the access by public transportation is one of the key factors in deciding that this site is an attractive site.
Any other questions? Anyone from the public? Yes?
Is the Solotowski going into the co-location building?
No, it's going into the first academic building.
First academic?
Yeah.
Are they going to build a ground floor for it?
I don't know yet. It won't be flat, but it may not be the same curvature that's in the original building.
Okay, yes, Sophia.
Yes. So when will graduate students be enrolled? When are you enrolling and accepting students and faculty on the campus?
We're actually enrolling and accepting students now for our campus in Chelsea. We're in the Google building. I believe in the fall we'll have about 75 students. Currently we have about 25 students. So we continue to grow. And by the time we get to Roosevelt Island, we expect there to be maybe 400 to 500 students. So we're starting small and we're growing a little bit every semester.
Okay.
I just have a few questions. First is there an overall development that's been selected for coordinating with 3 different developers? You've selected the 3 different buildings that you know about here.
Sorry, an overall construction manager or
an overall developer? Because I see that there's 3 different developers that you have selected for 3 components of the project. Is there an overall developer for those 3 components?
Yeah, we've hired for our city as a developer, not only for the co-location building, but as the master developer for the site, for the utilities, and as well for the first academic building.
And has there been efforts by your master developer to coordinate the design and 3 different architects between the 3 different facilities? Or how
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been doing that. We have hosted, as the owner, we've hosted a series of meetings between all of the architects to work together to share their different materials. We've been up on the rooftop of every architect's office looking at multiple different material palettes together. We've presented that to the community board, and we've also been in dialogue with the Public Design Commission about all of those different kinds of materials.
Yes, ma'am.
Any thoughts about building a dock and having fair stuff?
Building a dock?
Yes. Yes, we've thought about that. We don't control any of the waterfront property, so we wouldn't be able to build a dock without cooperation of REOC and other partners on the island. But we've said before, and we'll say it again, we're very committed to working with partners on the island to help to bring ferry service to the island.
Assuming the REOC how would Cornell feel about it?
It would feel about,
And very stuck on the hour.
we feel very good about it. Yeah, as I'm saying, we're happy to participate with other partners on the island, even financially, to support Mayfair, yes.
What can we do to make it happen? Is there anything that Roosevelt Island residents can do to support this?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you're asking the question, is there anything Roosevelt Island residents can do to support bringing ferry service to the island, correct? Yeah, sure. I mean, you can let us know about it. I don't speak to Cornell, but that's something Judy wanted to comment on. Yeah, I mean, the elected officials obviously will have can help in that area also. So I think make it known, and then as many people as can to get support here, that's going to help. But we're going to communicate this.
Yeah, and again, we're very happy to participate in that. We don't think that we should be in a position of leadership there, but we're more than happy to participate.
Where the construction is talking?
The docking on the east side of the island, right at the notch on the east side. They're about 20 feet off the seawall. They're not touching the seawall at all. The crane sits on a spud barge, and the spuds go into the riverbed. The crane then lifts boxes from a second barge that comes over. So east side of the river, actually Judy had showed us a picture of the hospital being built around 1938 or so, and I think that barge is almost in exactly the same place on the east side.
Any other questions? Okay. Great. Okay, thank you very much.